evictions, high cost of rent, 3 to 5 year waiting list for low-income housing, divorce, escaping an abusive partner or spouse, lack of income or loss of income and job loss. All of those situations can really make you start looking towards your car for refuge. If you have to live in your car, it is doable and it is sustainable for a certain amount of time. I want to discuss that with you now, and also how it can, one, be an adventure, but two, also be a stepping stone to getting your life back, creating a whole new reality for yourself and getting out of the place that you're in now. In 2017, I was able to put a down payment on a Winnebago Mini Winnie. I did this so that I could leave my abusive spouse. It was a very difficult time, and the divorce was very brutal, and it lasted for a lot of years because he refused to give it to me. But being able to move around, being able to have that RV, and being able to have life on the road and visit other places. I had some of my children living with me at the time then as well, and it was an incredible escape. It was also a financial burden, as it was $800 a month for payments. It was better than what most people are paying for rent right now, but after several years, it started to become more of a hardship as the divorce took its toll. I was emotionally devastated, had a very difficult time. I was going through counseling. And then in 2019, I had spent 3 months in a domestic violence shelter because of threats that my ex-husband, well, he was still my husband at the time, was making as I was attempting to go forward with my divorce. In this time, I decided I was going to change my life. I signed up for school, going back to school online through university in Central Florida, and I decided to move out of the state I was in there. And when I did this, I thought that my whole life was going to be put back together again. Once I left the domestic violence shelter, I was feeling so confident about myself after having spent so much time being afraid. They really helped equip me with some tools to become stronger. But little did I know that in less than a year, I would suffer a catastrophic loss that crippled me emotionally, mentally. I couldn't work. I was barely able to do school, but I continued to push forward. At this time, because of the loss, I was going through EMDR therapy, and I was still able to do school, but working was very difficult. Getting out and being in front of others was another situation that was very difficult for me. I was able, at a few years down the line, I was able to get some online work. Some of that was fantastic. I was healing, I was doing better. My grief, I was beginning to be able to compartmentalize some of the grief and continue to survive. In 2023, I had to give the bank back the RV as I could no longer afford the payments. And at that point, I was desperately seeking a place for shelter and found my 2005 Toyota Sienna with 200,000 miles on it. But I had no choice. I purchased it as quickly as I could, and I was very grateful for the people that helped me. I was able to pay for it in cash, and I've been in it for 14 months, so a little over a year. So this is part of the video that's a little tough for me, because I need to tell you the nitty-gritty truth. The truth is that there are people who purchase cars, rip out the back seats, and put in a bed to go live an adventure. They travel to different countries and they do everything out of this car, and they live a life that they love. But some of us don't plan to live in a car. I did not plan to live in a car. I do want a stand-up van that I can live in and travel and work out of my vehicle and also afford to be able to rent places when I want to, go into a hotel if I want to, and not be under the poverty line. The first few months were very difficult as I was trying to figure out how to cook, how to set things up, figuring out where to go, where to drive to. And there were times when I had adventures and was able to visit some really pretty places and to camp. But those are exceptions. The majority of the time, it's tougher. It's living in a vehicle, finding places to cook, finding your places to sleep, and finding places to work, figuring out how to work from your vehicle, or to go to a place to work and find a job and still live out of your vehicle. And I want to tell you, you can do it. It can be your place of refuge. It can be a place that you can come to and be free. But I also think it's a stepping stone. Living in your car is a stepping stone to something better, something greater. And I want to help with that. First, I want to show you my setup. This is what I did to make my Toyota Sienna as homey as possible, as functional as possible. This is the back of my Toyota Sienna car camper. It makes life so much easier. First off, I have a privacy curtain with decorations and of course fairy lights. I have a tall table that a friend of mine made me. It makes things much easier. It provides a fantastic workspace and lots of storage for all of my necessities. I have 2 generators, a smaller Bluetti EB55. Love this thing, powers up my laptops, my phones, and can also run my bodega. I have the Vitamin, which is a 1500 watt power station. I have my bodega cooler. It has a freezer and fridge side. You can pack this thing up and go for a very long time, and these generators can run this for over 12 hours. I have my stuff in there, ball for my dog. I have my bag of cords and my 5-gallon jug with a USB rechargeable water pump. And this side is all of my kitchen gear. I have a frying pan, my plug-in burner, and then I have a propane burner underneath, or a rocket stove that I can use. I have my Dash air fryer that plugs into my Vitamin so that I can cook anywhere that I want to. I have 2 panels of just black poster board. This one is looking a little worse for the wear because it's been a little damp with the winter, but it just blackens out that back window so I don't have to worry about anybody looking in and seeing my equipment. So this is my car camper, and thanks for taking a look. I took out the seats. I put in a full-size bed, which gives plenty of space for myself to sleep, storage underneath, and there's even a space area for my dog underneath. I have a small Shetland sheepdog, and he has free rein. It's like a kennel beneath, and then he can come up forward and then sit on the front seat. So he's got plenty of space to move around. I have privacy with my curtains. I put window shields on all the windows. And of course, I have my privacy curtain, as you can see up here. I have the privacy curtain in the back as well. And my rig is messy. I see all kinds of YouTube videos where people are living in these really pretty things and they have, you know, the little bed there and this little stuff. A lot of them don't have a dog, and a lot of them might not be building a physical business as well as remote online businesses like I am. So I have a lot of things back there on my bed that have to get moved up every night. But this is what I'm wanting to talk to you about. I will tell you the truth. I hate living in a car, and it breaks my heart to see people of all ages being forced to live in their vehicles. These aren't people who've chosen to do it for an adventure. These are people who are doing it because of that job loss, because of divorce, because of mental illness, because of grief, because of there's so many different reasons. There's a park nearby that I go and I cook at, and I'm not the only one. There are several other people who are living out of their vehicles and needing to go to the park. They use it because there's plugins that you can make your coffee or go ahead and put in, make food there. There is a bathroom so that they can get cleaned up. But there's this man, he must be, I don't know, 75, 80 years old. And he's hunched over and he's going into the bathroom to clean up, and he tries to wait until everyone else leaves and he's all alone. And there was a woman that I saw with her little child also living in a vehicle. There's a gentleman, there's a place that we all sleep in this city, this small city I'm in, and there are vans and cars. And a gentleman the other day came by. He saw me cooking outside in the back of my rig, and he wanted to warn me, and he was just like, hey, I want to tell you there is a person walking around, and he showed me a picture of this person. He had tried to break into this person's car. This man lives with his son in a very small car. And this, I understand that there are women out there who have raised their children, who have left their spouses, who have divorced, whether from abuse or not, and they're suffering. They're suffering. They're living in their cars. It blows my mind how many homeless, houseless people that there are, and they can't afford something really nice. They can't afford an RV or a stand-up van yet. They are relegated to a cramped, tiny little car. And I'm going to tell you, again, it is doable. And depending on your mindset, you can make an adventure. But I will tell you now that after 14 months, it is no longer an adventure for me. It is painful. And I don't want to live in the car anymore. You are crushed into the front seat a lot of the time, stuck behind a wheel. I crawl and climb from one section to the other to go to sleep at night. All of my stuff comes up front. I lock my doors, but I'm not home. You learn to go to sleep in a level of safety, but you know you're in a car. You think about it, and you think, God, please don't let somebody come by and try and break out my window. I have a little bucket up front. It's just a Home Depot bucket that has a little top on it that I got off of Amazon for $12. It's a little toilet. But after a long time living in a car and doing this, you will find that you are exhausted by trying to find bathrooms. I'm sorry, this is really hard for me. Please do realize that this car has saved my life. 2005 Toyota Sienna, and it saved my life because I had nowhere else to go. I had nowhere else to live. So I am so grateful for this car, and I'm grateful for the places that it's brought me, the feeling of freedom that I've had. So all of the rest, I'm going to just push it over here for right now. Those negative things, the hard things about living in a car. I'm going to say that I am grateful for this vehicle because the other thing that it gives me is a stepping stone to something greater, a stepping stone to something better. If you want to see how I changed my life, and if you want to change your own, please subscribe to the channel and let me know in the comments, what is your situation like now? Have you changed your life already, and are you living the life you want to live? Because I'm not yet, but I can see it. And that's what I'm going toward. And that's what I want to help other people do too. I have let go so much of myself And I used to believe in my dreams. And somewhere along the lines, I've really struggled to get that back. And if you have ever felt that struggle, I want to help you. I want to hold your hand and you hold mine, and together we're discovering ourselves again. That wild woman inside of us, living the life that we want to live and rebuilding from where everything got broken. Because I believe that we can. So this channel is going to be about manifestation. It's going to be about growing and wellness and health and finding online jobs, working remotely, making your own businesses, writing, journaling, being the best you, living bravely, productivity, creating your own YouTube channel, whatever it takes to find those broken pieces and to heal in this journey. Thank you for coming this far with me, for listening to me talk, and thank you. I hope and wish and send all the healing, positive, powerful, and growing vibes for you, for prosperity and power and health in your life and in your journey here in 2025 and going further and onward. Thanks for coming by. I'm really glad you were here.